Sopanam 7. Bahirated yatha naiva manasam samyamishvara samyamam kuru. The arrival of a king. Staying in the Gurukula for 3 years, Shankara studied his own branch of the Vedas along with its components like Shiksha and Kalpa. In his 8th year, after completing studies, he returned home and spent time in Swadhyaya, that is self-study, meditation and serving his mother. Meanwhile, his reputation as a phenomenal prodigy began to spread far and wide, even among scholars, and it eventually reached the ears of the king Rajashekara. The king, who was highly refined and scholarly person, decided to meet Sri Shankara. In keeping with Kshatriya Dharma, Rajashekara went with several offerings and prostrated before Shankara. They discussed the Shastras. The king was astounded at the intellectual and spiritual acumen of this child yogi. He read out to Shankara 3 plays that he had composed. Shankara listened, commended, and also pointed out their shortcomings. Afterwards, the king offered gold coins, silks, and gift deeds to Shankara and said, "O best among Brahmanas, this is my dharma as a Kshatriya. Kindly accept them." O king, a Brahmana is one whose mind is content with knowledge and whose body is content with just food, a loincloth, and a place to sleep. Yena kena chidachannaha yena kena chidashitaha yatra kvachana shayi syatham devaha brahmanam viduhu. One who wears any garment that he happens to get, eats the food that chance may bring, and sleeps happily anywhere, is considered a Brahmana by the Devas. Excessive wealth brings troubles like physical and mental ailments, anxiety, pride and anger. Kindly take back all these gifts. The king replied, "If you cannot accept them, please give them away to deserving ones." Identifying suitable recipients and giving gifts are not possible for a Brahmana boy as for a king. Dhanam Ishvara Bhavascha Kshatram Karma Swabhavajam, says the Gita. The Shastras say that just as receiving, giving also is bondage for a Brahmana, for in order to give, one must first possess. Dhanartham yasya vitteha varam tasya nirihata prakshalanadhipankasya durataspashanam varam. Instead of amassing wealth for doing charity, it is better to give up all desires. It is better not to come in contact with slush than cleanse oneself after getting soiled. The excess wealth that one possesses must be given away to lighten the burden. Excess wealth is like dirt and must be washed off. Will anyone pour dirt on one's own body just to wash it away? Charity is noble, but it is nobler not to possess more than necessary. Shankara's strong sense of Vairagya and Viveka astonished the king. He prostrated with great reverence and left the place with his retinue, like King Rahuguna did after his meeting with Bharata Yogi. Mother and son. Now a widow, Aryamba Devi led a pious and austere life. Early in the morning, she would walk to the distant river for a bath. Then, chanting the Lord's name, the aged mother would visit the Vishnu temple. One day, while returning from her bath, yearning for a darshana of Lord Shiva, who had blessed her with a son, she spotted a white deer at a distance. By an inner prompting, when she went near, it disappeared instantly. In its place, she saw a Shiva lingam and understood that Lord had taken that form there in order to bless her. She prostrated to the Lord with the shloka, He Chandra Chuda Madanantaka Shula Parne Stharno Girisha Girijesha Mahesha Shambho Bhutesha Bhita Bhayasudana Mamanatham Samsara Dukkha Gana Jagadisha Raksha. This place where the lingam appeared exists even now in Kaladi and is known as Tiruvellai Mantulli, the place where the divine white deer leapt into view. Visiting this temple also became part of Aryamba's daily routine. Walking a great distance every day and observing fasts and austerities weakened her body considerably. One Dwadashi day, that is the 12th day of the lunar month following the day of fasting, Ekadashi, while returning after her bath in the Purna, she swooned and fell down due to hunger and fatigue. Realizing that mother had not returned home, Shankara came looking for her and took her home. Overwhelmed by great compassion, he told her that from then onwards she need not walk such a great distance and that the Purna would flow by the side of their house to enable her to have a dip. The mother listened to her son's words with much love, amusement, and an affectionate smile. It was only at night that she understood the real implication of those words. It was the rainy month of Tula, that is the northeast monsoon season. That night, there were heavy thunder showers accompanied by the rumbling sound of a landslide in the mountains. A large boulder descended and blocked the narrow path of the river Purna. The river made a new pathway and started flowing with a roaring sound like the pompous Ganga proudly cascading from the heavens, confident that she would sweep Lord Shiva himself to the nether regions. It might have been past midnight when Arya Devi and her relatives were woken up by the sound of the villagers screaming and running hither and thither. When they looked outside, they were shocked and terrified by what they saw. The fields and the paths were completely submerged by floodwaters, and someone was shouting, "The river has changed its course." The mother looked at Shankara with great astonishment. Shankara was sleeping peacefully. Gazing at him with devotion, affection and amazement, she wondered, "Oh dear son, by sheer will you have changed the course of a river. Who are you, Shiva or Vishnu? Such a miracle has never been heard of before." But the discreet mother did not disclose the matter to anyone. Sri Shankara also behaved as though nothing unusual had taken place. In the morning, the Purna was seen flowing wide by the side of their home. The sudden change of course caused no harm to anyone. The next day, Shankara reached the river banks with his companion Vishnu Sharma. Eyes sparkling with divine love, he looked at Purna and sang a beautiful hymn. Purna Nadistava Ambesu Purne Karunambuvahe Galanti Bhumavanukampayatvam Tvadiya Nire Bhava Sindhu Tire
निमज्य भूतो जननी भवेयम् श्रुतेरिवार्थं सरसीहमातः मुनेरिवान्तर्मननं नितान्तम् अहं चिदानन्दरसेति घोषः श्रुतिप्रसिद्धो ध्वनिरेषतेऽम्ब मदीयमातुश्च समीपगे त्वम् नूनं हि गङ्गा शिवमौलिजाता धन्यो हि देशो भुवि कालटीते जलेन पूतो पुरुपुण्यकोशः पूर्णामृतानन्दसारं वहन्ति पूर्णेयमीशस्य पदं स्पृशन्ति पूतं च मां कर्तुमात्मानुभूत्या प्रत्यक्कलन्ति जयतां नदीयम् सम्पूर्णमात्मानमाकाशकल्पम् सम्पद्य नित्यं परमे समाधौ कदा वसानीत्यधुना भणत्वम् श्रुत्यम्भसा पूर्णजगत्प्रसिद्धे शमादिशत्कैरतिभद्रकूटम् समानबुद्ध्या च निरस्तकूटम् समाहितान्तःकरणेषु गूढम् भजामि मातः शिवबोधमूढम् जलं त्वदीयं च छलं दलन्ति गलन्ति भूमावधुना सवित्री चला च मेधिश्चरतां त्वदीये निजस्वरूपे त्वचले भवानी कलं स्वनन्ति तव नीरजालम् गलन्ति विष्णोः परितः सतीव पुनीहि मातः श्रुतिबोधजे त्वं तत्त्वं पदार्थं दिश सिन्धुकन्ये.
Hearing this, Vishnu exclaimed in wonder, "Oh, what a wonderful hymn! What a marvel! The way Purna has changed her course." Vishnu, just as this river has turned its direction towards the source, the mind too must turn inwards to know the self. From the discussions of Father, our Acharya and other scholars, I have grasped the meaning of the Upanishadic proclamations that the external world and the body are like a dream and that the self alone is the truth. But there are three types of knowledge: that which is gained from the Shastras, from the Guru, and finally that which is gained from direct experience. My mind is yearning to gain the experience of the truth through Shruti, Yukti, that is reasoning that helps the mind to know the self, and finally Anubhava, the experience of the self. Ah, Shankara, you have so much dispassion. Vishnu, even after the dawn of dispassion, it is not possible to find complete fulfillment unless one attains self-realization. Utpannepi virage prabodham vinasukham na syat. As dispassion is also an attribute of the mind, it is bound to disappear. A person of intelligence is one who plunges within, while the flame of dispassion is alive and realizes the self. Hearing this, Vishnu, though much older than Shankara, asked with the innocence of a child, "Then why not do it? Why the delay?" The Shastras declare that even if one has studied all the Shastras and has a keen intellect, Brahma Vichara must not be attempted merely with the help of one's intellect, without the guidance of an enlightened Acharya, and without following the path laid down by the Shrutis. Sarva Shastra Vidapi Prajnavanapi Swatantriyena Brahman Veshanam na Kuryat. So, I wish to take to the all-renouncing life of a Paramahamsa. That alone can give the unconditional freedom to meditate. Can one attain liberation simply by renouncing everything? Will the fruit taste sweet if one plucks it before it is ripe? And at that moment, a ripe mango fell down from a nearby tree. Shankara said, when ripe, it falls by itself. Yatha Vishnu phalam pakvam swayameva patishyati tatha samsara bandhoyam viraktasya vimuchyate. Hey Vishnu, just as a ripe fruit falls on its own from the tree, the bondage of samsara leaves a person who has virakti. Vishnu, renunciation is not for cowards. Dhanyastu sanyasyati. He indeed is blessed who renounces out of dispassion, says Bhartruhari. Dispassion for samsara happens by the Lord's grace, and getting a Sadguru is the result of infinite punya. Vairagya precedes Jnāna as the dawn, the sunrise. They then stepped into the sacred river for Sandhya Vandana. Thus ends the 7th Sopanam,